Assalamualaikum. Today I'm going to talk about an issue that often goes unnoticed but has profound effects on individuals, families and society as a whole, which is gambling addictions. So this video will talk to you guys about the causes, effects and ways to avoid gambling addiction. So without further ado, let's go to the introduction of gambling addiction. So let's go into the introduction of gambling addiction. According to Griffith, which is an article wrote in 2009, stated that the term gambling addiction or problem gambling is to describe gambling that compromises, disrupt or damage family, personal or recreational pursuits. But from other article that I found from Yale University, problem gambling is often used to describe less severe but interfering patterns of excessive or distraction gambling, at times inclusive and other exclusive of pathological gambling. For your information, gambling is a widespread activity with staggering 86% of the general adult population endorsing lifetime participation in traditional forms of gambling and 52% of adults reporting in participation in partial lottery gambling. With this number, I only have one question in my mind, which is why this gambling is a widespread activity. So let me tell you this. Gambling is a widespread activity probably because of commercialization and increasingly normalized sponsorship and marketing, and also the legalization of gambling in most countries of the world. Without further ado, let's begin with the first factor that lead to gambling addiction. So the first one is family history. Having a family history of addiction, especially in gambling addiction, can increase the likelihood that you will be affected. Friend or family members who gamble can increase the gambling addictions too. So living in a house where gambling was a norm may increase your risk of having a problem when you are older. And move on to the next one is early exposure. The younger you are when you start gambling, the more likely you are to having a gambling addiction. This is one of the main causes why younger people are more prone to impulsivity. So based on a recent research, people in the early 20s are the fastest growing group of gamblers, and many kids are starting younger than that. This is true based on the Canadian research in 2018, and it is quite sad because this number is very bad for the societies. And the last factor is mental health problem. There are many individuals who use gambling as a way to relieve feelings, for example, feeling of depression or anxiety. Gambling is considered a high-risk activity, and certain mental health conditions result in a propensity for such. So now that you know the cause of gambling addiction, let's find out more about the effect on this issue. Gambling addiction has two effects, and the first one is financial loss. This is the most obvious and visible consequence of gambling addiction. But unlike the other kind of addiction, gambling addiction can devastate on your financial in a matter of hours. Based on a research, gamblers that have addiction have higher rates of bankruptcy compared to the general population, and more likely to use loan sharks and illegal tactics to fund ongoing gambling. And the second point is effects on relationship and family. Gamblers that have addiction have higher rates of divorce, which is 53.5% as compared to non-addictive gamblers, which is roughly only 18%. This is probably due to combination of deception, financial debt and emotional absenteeism. Gamblers with addiction also have been shown to have higher rates of spousal and child abuse. This concludes that gambling addiction brings more physical and psychological difficulties. Given the effects of gambling addiction, I'm sure you are wondering what are the steps to address this problem. There are a few steps involved in preventing gambling addiction. The first one is educate yourself and others. You need to learn about the potential dangers of gambling and signs of addiction. This awareness can help you or someone you care about maintain a healthy balance. The next one is restricting gambling venues and license. Restriction number of gambling venues can decrease in participant, number of frequent gamblers, demand for treatment, and also number of gambling addiction. But long policies should be implemented to cap the number of licenses for casinos or gambling houses. In conclusion, gambling addiction is a complex disorder that can have devastating effects on individuals, families, and communities. The causes of this issue come from environmental effect, family history, and early exposure towards gambling. This gambling issue can lead to a financial loss, and it can give bad effects on relationship and family. However, with awareness, individual can take steps to prevent gambling addiction. More efforts need to validate in order to overcome this gambling addiction amongst people. Remember, if gambling is a problem, quit gambling and don't add your problem. Thank you.